The following program, NORML Show Live, is intended for responsible adults only. We advocate for the repeal of marijuana prohibition for adults. We discuss the science, culture, and controversy about America's marijuana laws. We do not advocate or encourage any illegal activity and advise all listeners to learn their state and federal marijuana laws by visiting norml.org, NORML.org. Opinions and claims made by guests and advertisers of NORML Show Live are their own and do not necessarily reflect the philosophy and policies of NORML. Listener discretion is advised.
You take a seed, you plant it, you grow it, you dry it, you roll it, you smoke it. You take a seed, you plant it, you grow it, you dry it, you roll it, you smoke it, and it goes down smooth. Hey!
Spanning the continent to bring you the truth about cannabis and marijuana law reform.
I smoke pot and I like it a lot.
From the promise of legalization.
And I think we need to rethink and decriminalize our marijuana laws.
To the agony of prohibition.
One major responsibility is to encourage people to use less drugs.
The National Organization for the Reform of Marijuana Laws presents NORML Show Live, Marijuana Nation. Now, here's your host, NORML's Outreach Coordinator, Radical Russ Belville.
Good afternoon, tokers and tokettes, and welcome. It's Monday, June 7th, 2010, and it's got to be 420 somewhere in the world. Thanks for joining us for our next hour of news, talk, interviews, information, music, comedy, and more by, for, and about the cannabis community. Brought to you live from Rolla J Studios here in beautiful Potland, Oregon, where it's not a typo, it's a way of life. And joining us here in the studio, pushing the buttons and turning the knobs, the maestro, Ganja John.
Hey, tokers. Russ, I'm not going to lie to you. When you got up about 5 seconds before your intro, I almost panicked.
I'm having a fuzzy camera problem on camera 4 up there. We'll have to fix that during the break. And where's my two-shot with John? I seem to have lost it. Oh, well, we'll just get the main John shot here because John's got stuff to tell us. You had a good weekend.
I did have a good weekend. I went to that Cottonmouth Kings ICP concert. I'm not going to lie, I left after one ICP song, but I did stick around for Cottonmouth Kings. I didn't have tickets. I wasn't guested. I got backstage. I am a god among men. But
tell them how you got backstage, though.
I had a pocket full of Russ Belville cards, actually, and when they asked me what my name was, I kind of panicked and I just said Russ Belville. It worked.
So I'm thrilled to know that, you know, my business cards and name can get you backstage.
Yeah,
That's pretty damn cool.
And I shared a doob with Coolio. That was kind of cool.
The Coolio, fantastic voyage Coolio.
You know, when I woke up Friday morning, I didn't think that I was going to smoke a doob with Coolio, let alone see Coolio perform Gangsta's Paradise from the side of the stage. I didn't even know he was going to be there.
Yeah,
but it was quite the surprise. But Dirtball. Class act.
The Dirtball from Bend, Oregon. Yeah, we got a poster here in the studio. We'll show that sometime. Long Live the Kings poster signed by the Dirtball and other great news.
Oh yeah, we also got the Dirtball signed hat here. But yeah, other great news, which I'm going to do right now.
That's the Dirtball from Suburban Noise Records, Cottonmouth Kings. This is NORML Show Live. Keep it right here. Yeah.
I recorded that with about 30 fans around him waiting for signatures, so I was pretty proud of myself. Thank you, iPhone.
Great work from Ganja John getting the Dirtball, and we might have him on the show, I understand, pretty soon.
I think so.
That's going to be a lot of fun to get Dirtball from the Kings on the show. And also joining us from our virtual studio in beautiful Astoria, Oregon, the home of the Goonies. Oh, my, this weekend. It must have been a fun Cannabis Carrie.
It was not. Coolio didn't show up, but everybody else did.
Coolio didn't show up for the Goonies?
No, but everybody else did. The town was overrun with Goonies, people everywhere you turned. They must have made, I don't know, about $10 million on T-shirts, I'm going to guess.
Oh, wow.
I heard they had a microbrew down there called the Truffle Shuffle Stout. So I got to try that.
They did at the Fort George Brewery. Yeah, I'll bring you some this week.
Oh, wow.
All right. And of course, Sean Astin was there, Corey Feldman, Richard Donner, Jeff Cohen. Joey Pants was there.
Joey Pants was there.
Yes, he was. And lots of people dressed up like the Monster Guy, and a lot of people dressed up like Chunk.
Oh, that's so cool. We hope to get some photos from that here on the show pretty soon here. Carrie will bring some down. Carrie brings us our news right after the first break. So what's in the headlines today?
Well, it's D-Day for a couple of stories that we have been watching pretty intently. One, the LA dispensary story, and the other one, those two bills that have made their way through the Colorado legislature. So we're going to talk about that today. We can't not talk about it. And also, we've been getting a lot of bad news out of Montana. Well, I'm excited to report our third story today is a win in Montana. So I can't wait to tell you about that.
All right. And Carrie will also join us at 20 after for our Daily Toker Tunes. Today is Roots Monday. And we got some great music today from Tom Petty. Yes, the Tom Petty.
The Tom Petty.
Oh, he will be on the show with that song called Don't Pull Me Over. We're looking forward to that. Today, we'll be taking a look at this month in NORML, and this weekend is the NORML Aspen Legal Seminar. Alan St. Pierre, the executive director of NORML, will be joining us by telephone from Washington, D.C. to give us the latest on the seminar and what's happening nationwide with NORML. So stay tuned for that. And at the end of the show, a radical rant. I'm going to give you a little bit more information on your constitutional rights. They've changed a little bit when you're dealing with cops thanks to a new Supreme Court ruling last week. Stay tuned. We'll talk all about it at the end of the show. It's NORML Show Live. We're right back after this.
You're listening to NORML Show Live, the voice of the marijuana nation.
Hello, I'm Radical Russ Belville, Outreach Coordinator for NORML and host of NORML Show Live. Medical marijuana is legal in 14 states today, and I encourage you to visit marijuanadoctors.com to find a physician to help you obtain an authorization for medical marijuana in your state. In most medical marijuana states, patients qualify with a history of either severe chronic pain and or nausea, cancer, AIDS or HIV, glaucoma, seizure disorders like epilepsy, chronic muscle spasms such as multiple sclerosis, and other conditions which vary by state. Learn which conditions are covered in your state at marijuanadoctors.com. If you or someone you know has one of these conditions, marijuanadoctors.com will help you find a physician online or by phone to obtain a permit for medical marijuana. Marijuanadoctors.com is fully transparent and HIPAA compliant. Call 866-996-9333 today or visit marijuanadoctors.com. That's 866-996-9333 by phone or online at marijuanadoctors.com.
Medical marijuana, industrial hemp, consumer cannabis. It's time for this week's NORML News with Cannabis Carrie.
We've been watching and reporting on this story, but today is the day. Today is the day that the new LA City ordinance governing dispensaries goes into effect, and the day that the city will begin enforcing its new restrictions on dispensaries. Only dispensaries that opened prior to November of 2007 will get 6 months to comply with the new regulations that will force many into new locations. The zoning laws that will govern the LA City dispensaries to be 1,000 feet from sensitive areas such as schools and parks is much more strict than those that govern gun dealers, adult entertainment businesses, pharmacies, and businesses that sell or distribute alcohol. With an estimated 400 medical marijuana dispensaries closing down, it only makes sense that many patients will most likely turn back to the criminal market to obtain cannabis, not to mention the over 400 empty storefronts in the midst of a recession. Attorneys for patients have filed a class action lawsuit contending the new law will unconstitutionally bar patients access to their medicine. Los Angeles County Superior Court Judge James Chalfant, who made the ruling on Friday and heard the patient's argument, said that the estimated 137 shops that will be allowed to remain open, coupled with patients having a right to grow their own medicine, is a reason to reject that argument about patients' access. He did say, however, that patients may have grounds to ask for an injunction on the ordinance based on their privacy rights. The city ordinance says police will be able to obtain patient lists and doctor recommendations without a warrant, but denied requests from lawyers to stop the ordinance from going into effect. He set a hearing for July. A steady parade of applicants filed into City Hall on Friday and paid their $324 in registration fees. Then they were placed on a priority list of clinics that will be notified within a month if they are eligible to continue operation. City prosecutors have yet to say how they plan to enforce the ordinance, but fines for violating it are set at $2,500 per day. Some of the dispensaries that were sent a letter demanding that they close have vowed to stay open despite the ban. Still, others are turning to the new cannabis business that has taken off in Southern California, medical cannabis delivery services. No storefronts, no rents, no zoning, just couriers that get cannabis from growers to the homes of patients in the form of smokable cannabis or edibles. Advocates say that the growth of these services could be a game changer in the state's ongoing battle with medical marijuana legalities. And of course, we'll bring you updates as the story continues to unfold.
Well, that's naturally the way it's going to unfold here is, the reason there was so many hundreds of dispensaries in the LA basin is because there's that much demand for medical marijuana. It's not like these businesses could open up if there weren't the people demanding the product. So naturally, if you're going to restrict this from hundreds of dispensaries down to 70 or so, that business has to go elsewhere. It's either going to go to the black market or, like Carrie mentions here, into these delivery services. And if Los Angeles thought it was having trouble regulating and keeping control of storefronts, imagine trying to regulate and keep control of hundreds of different little couriers and different delivery systems out there. Talk about your unintended consequences. Now, with regard to something Carrie said there that really always strikes me, the city, of course, has passed this ordinance, and they're going to be sending out these letters, about 100 per week is what I've heard that they'll be able to process to tell these folks to cease and desist, or that they need to follow the new regs, and they need to get a new location, whatever it might be. But all these locations, they have to be like 1,000 feet from a school, a library, a park, a playground, all these so-called sensitive areas. And like Carrie mentioned, it's a much more strict requirement than what we have for gun shops, porn shops, pharmacies, or bars and taverns. So you got to ask yourself, what's the point behind that? Why do we want to keep these things 1,000 feet away from kids? Now, I can kind of understand with the porn thing. You might not want to have kids seeing all, scantily clad women and desperate men and so on at the strip club every day. That I can understand that reasoning. I can understand keeping the taverns away as well. You don't want to have kids interacting with a bunch of folks who might be drunk or whatever. Keeping away from the gun location seems like a pretty reasonable idea to me. And the same might go for drugs and all. But what's the reason for keeping kids away from a medical marijuana dispensary? Now, supposedly the idea here would be to keep marijuana out of the hands of kids. But we've done that by putting it in the dispensary where people's IDs have to be checked. That's exactly the point of having a storefront like this, is that we can mandate who's allowed to go in, make it adults only, and check IDs for people as to whether or not they're going to get their cannabis. By forcing this back underground or forcing it back to delivery services, you're more likely that kids are going to get involved with this than if they would have gone to the dispensaries in the first place. No, what this is really about, this 1,000 feet, is to keep kids from thinking about it or talking about it or getting the idea that marijuana might not be the demon reefers that the dare cops are telling them they are. That's the idea. This has nothing to do with about child safety. It has to do with protecting their innocent little brains from the notion that cannabis might be okay.
Governor Bill Ritter signed into law this morning 2 bills regulating and legitimizing the state's medical marijuana industry. The bills, which impose complicated licensing requirements on medical marijuana dispensaries and crack down on doctors who indiscriminately hand out marijuana recommendations, were some of the most high-profile measures passed in the legislature this year. Ritter signed the bills, House Bill 1284 and Senate Bill 109, without the usual public ceremony that accompanies most attention-grabbing legislation, and instead he signed the bill privately, along with a slate of 28 various other bills. Supporters of the bill say that this will professionalize the medical marijuana industry and make it harder for people to abuse the system, while several prominent medical marijuana advocates say the rules go much too far. They will drive marijuana dispensaries out of business and will push patients back into the underground marketplace. A team of lawyers has already begun recruiting potential plaintiffs for lawsuits challenging the law's constitutionality. Senate Bill 109 requires patients to have a bona fide relationship with the doctors who recommend marijuana for them and require doctors to have completed a full assessment of the patient's medical history, talk with the patients about medical conditions that has caused them to seek marijuana, and to be available for follow-up care. The law also prevents doctors from getting paid by dispensaries to write recommendations. Now, House Bill 1284 creates strict new regulations for medical marijuana businesses, requiring that dispensaries be licensed at both the state and local levels and it allows local governments or voters to ban dispensaries and large-scale marijuana growing operations in their communities. Some cities have already moved to do just that. Also, people convicted of a recent felony or at all of any drug-related felony will be barred from operating a dispensary. People who have lived in Colorado for fewer than 2 years cannot open a dispensary, and all dispensaries must grow at least 70% of the marijuana they sell. This means that people currently operating as wholesale growers either have to partner with a dispensary or shut down. Dispensaries, according to the new law, are not considered caregivers and do not qualify for their elevated constitutional protection.
Wow. A lot of the same arguments I'd make with regard to that LA story would be made here for the Colorado story about driving people underground and so on. But in this case, Colorado's a bit different because we're talking about a constitutional right. Okay, this is a constitutional right in the state of Colorado for people to be able to access their medicine. And the lawsuits are going to be really fascinating. Let me talk about a few of these aspects that Carrie brought up. This notion that patients need to have a bona fide relationship with their doctor, receive a full medical assessment, and schedule follow-up care. You know the reason a lot of people use medical marijuana or get medical marijuana? Because they can't afford bona fide relationships with a doctor. They can't afford numerous full assessments at the doctor, and they can't afford a whole lot of follow-up care. A lot of people here are doing without health care in this country because they cannot afford it. It's not in their, and for a lot of them, the treatments that they would want to get are not covered by their insurance for the people that do have it. So people turn to medical marijuana because A, it's a house plant they can grow in their own home, and B, in order to treat themselves, they don't have to keep going back through the revolving door of the doctor's office. This just puts again, what I've always complained about medical marijuana is the putting marijuana in the medical frame tends to push it toward the whole prescription drug frame, right? It tends to push it toward the hospital pharmaceutical complex, if you want to call it that, and continuing to make income for doctors here. This is ridiculous that we would require this for the safest therapeutic substance known to man. If we were talking about giving these people methadone, or we're talking about people giving them some sort of OxyContin or something like that, yeah, definitely. Let's get the doctor, all up in their business. But we're talking about cannabis, something that's non-toxic, something that's non-addictive, something that is so helpful. Why would we want to increase the difficulty in getting a hold of this? It's, again, this idea of it being medicine of last resort instead of the treatment of first resort. Now, this idea that they want to just outright ban dispensaries, I'd like to see how that stands up to constitutional scrutiny. This notion that someone can't have a drug-related felony and then run a dispensary. Do you realize a lot of these people that have any sort of expertise whatsoever in growing, curing, and harvesting marijuana are the ones who were growing it illegally in the past and got felonies for it? You're automatically disqualifying some of the most qualified people to evaluate medical marijuana and present it to patients. A 2-year residency requirement, again, to try to prevent carpetbaggers. Don't know how that's going to stand up. And 70% of the marijuana has to be produced in-house. Do we ask the pharmacies to produce 70% of their OxyContin in-house? No. Again, more restrictions for medical marijuana than we would consider for morphine, for OxyContin. It is ridiculous.
And with all the negative stories we've had to report out of Montana in the last few weeks, finally, a judge rules on the side of the cannabis consumer. In Helena, Montana, a judge has ruled that it is not a worker's fault that he got mauled by a grizzly bear, even though he smoked marijuana right before trying to feed the animal. Brock Hopkins was a volunteer who occasionally got paid for jobs he did for Great Bear Adventures in Helena. In November of 2007, Hopkins admitted to smoking marijuana before he entered a bear pen to feed the animal. He was attacked and had to be hospitalized. The owner of the attraction near Glacier National Park said that Hopkins' use of marijuana caused the accident. But Judge James Jeremiah Shea of the Montana's Worker Compensation Court ruled that Hopkins was eligible for benefits and concluded that Hopkins' use of marijuana was not the main cause of the attack, saying in his ruling, "It's not as if this attack occurred when Hopkins inexplicably wandered into the grizzly pen while searching for the nearest White Castle. When it comes to attacking humans, grizzlies are equal opportunity maulers, attacking without regard to race, creed, ethnicity, or marijuana usage. Hopkins' use of marijuana to kick off a day of working around grizzly bears was ill-advised, to say the least, and mind-bogglingly stupid, to say the most," Shea added. However, I have been presented with no evidence by which I conclude that Hopkins' marijuana use was the major contributing cause of the grizzly attack. Hopkins had suffered damage to his legs as he crawled under a fence to get away from the bear. He underwent 2 surgeries for leg wounds that included a detached kneecap. He is now eligible for compensation from the uninsured employer's fund for the roughly $70,000 in medical expenses he incurred.
I think all we can say about that is wow.
Wow. Hey, yeah, everybody always knew that grizzly bears hated dope-smoking hippies, right?
Hate them.
Yeah, it was the weed that caused the attack. Yeah, sure. Okay. Glad to hear that turned out good. Thanks, Carrie, for the story. We're right back with the music right after this.
It's 20 after the hour. And we have to take a short break, if you know what I mean. Please support these sponsors who support Normal Show Live.
Oh, have you ever met that funny reefer man? A reefer man. Have you ever met that funny reefer man? A reefer man. If he said he swam to China, he would sell you South Carolina. Then you know you're talking to that reefer man.
Law420.com. Hello, I'm Russ Belville, Outreach Coordinator for NORML. In my job, I read literally hundreds of headlines each month involving nonviolent, productive citizens whose lives are ripped apart by a marijuana or drug arrest. Many citizens could avoid arrest by refusing police searches and remaining silent, but police are well trained to confuse and intimidate. That's why you have a right to speak to an attorney before answering any police questions. I hope you never need to exercise that right, but if you do, make your first call to the law offices of John C. Lucy IV. John Lucy is an accomplished criminal defense attorney with expertise in Oregon's medical marijuana law. John Lucy understands and respects cannabis and drug consumers of all backgrounds. Call John C. Lucy IV at 503-227-6000 or visit in downtown Portland. Address available at law420.com. That's John C. Lucy IV at 503-227-6000 or visit law420.com today.
Cannabinoids and health.
Cannabinoids.
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 Why am I having trouble saying that?
Cannabinoids.
Jeez.
Cannabinoids.
What a gift.
Flame on if you can. You're looking for the dope weed. Fire it up. Flame on if you can. You're looking for the dope weed. Bully boy's a man. Flame on if you can. You're looking for the dope weed. Flame on, here's a lighter. If you burn bud, you cruise to a rider.
It's time for your Daily Toker Tunes, the best in 420-friendly music from all genres that uplifts, entertains, and informs the public. Our pod-safe music is donated by freedom-loving musicians who support our goal of ending adult marijuana prohibition. Today we bring you tunes for Roots Monday, our celebration of the music that evolved into the popular modern music of today. We pick the best of blues, country, folk, and jazz with a 420 feel and serve it up for you every Monday. Brought to you by PlanetFantastic.com and Bella Blue Tie-Dye Fashions. If you'd like to submit your song to be played on Normal Show Live, send it to us at stash@normal.org. Now, here's some great independent marijuana music for today's Daily Toker Tunes.
Hey everybody, 23 after the hour. We're doing things a little bit different. We're doing it live. Cannabis Carrie had a tune up for us, but Ganja John came up and trumped her with another tune.
Screwed it up. I wear many hats here at Normal, and sometimes it's the backup Monday Roots guy.
I guess so. So Carrie?
I was just going to say Tom Petty always trumps everybody. Love him.
That's right. So I guess John's got the intro for this one rather than you?
Yeah, I guess I can do it. It's actually on High Times website right now. It's a High Times exclusive and Normal Show Live exclusive. It's Tom Petty's Don't Pull Me Over, and he's going to go on a 3-month tour this summer, and anybody who buys a ticket gets to download his new album Mojo for free.
Oh, that is so cool. That's the way musicians need to be doing it now in the age of the internet, is that it's the concert that you make the money on, not the disc that has the music on it.
Right. Well, Prince had an interesting idea a few years ago. Everyone who bought a ticket got a CD. So
I went to that concert.
Yeah, so that actually added to his album sales. So,
yeah. Great stuff. Cool. All right, well, this is Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers from High Times. This is Don't Pull Me Over.
got to go won't hurt anyone. Don't pull me over. I got mouths to feed. Don't pull me over. They depend on me. What I've got to say won't hurt anyone. What I've got to do won't hurt anyone. When the moonlight turns to blue light, makes me so afraid. Let me go, leave me alone till I'm home and safe. Don't pull me over. Let me pass on by. Don't pull me over. Should be legalized. Don't pull me over, Mr. Policeman. No, don't pull me over, Mr. Policeman.
Great music from hightimes.com. You can check out the album at hightimes.com/mojo. That, of course, is Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers. Don't pull me over, Mr. Policeman.
It only comes twice a day, but I don't care. It's 4:20 somewhere.
All right, it's time for NORML's Cannabis Community Calendar, which you can find at normal.org/calendar. Taking place today, Monday, June 7th, in just an hour at the Wisconsin State Capitol, a vigil to memorialize Cheryl Miller and other victims of medical marijuana prohibition. Join them at the King Street entrance at the Capitol from 4 to 6 local time. Jackie Rickert, Gary Stork, Al Baker, and more will be speaking. You can call 608-241-8922 for more details on the vigil at the Wisconsin State Capitol in Madison. Also at 4:20 today here Pacific time at 700 Northeast Deacon, the Oregon NORML Veterans Support Group will be taking place. For more information, check out ornormal.org. On Tuesday, June 8th, a weekly medicating event at the Phoenix Cafe in Hazel Park, Michigan will be taking place. Also in Michigan, the Kalamazoo Area Compassion Club will be meeting at Charlie's Place. For more information on those, check out our calendar at normal.org/calendar. And every Tuesday, Hemp TV is on the air in Albuquerque, New Mexico at their cable access. You can call 505-880-0666 for more information. On Wednesday, June 9th, there will be no NORML show live. This show will not be on Wednesday. I will be flying to Aspen, Colorado for the Aspen Legal Seminar. We'll be talking with Alan St. Pierre about that here at the bottom of the hour. Also on Wednesday, June 9th, Muskegon NORML's Compassion Committee meeting is meeting in Muskegon, Michigan. Reverend Stephen B. Thompson, the Executive Director of Michigan NORML, will be there to explain the mission. So check out Muskegon NORML in Muskegon, Michigan. On Thursday, June 10th, the Aspen Legal Seminar begins. There's also a Laura Reindell readiness hearing in San Diego. Central Ohio NORML will be meeting at the Old Worthington Library, and Pittsburgh NORML will be having their open meeting in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania at the Ava Shadow Lounge facility in Pittsburgh, PA. On Friday, June 11th, the Aspen Legal Seminar continues. Also in Michigan, the Nor'easter Music and Art Festival will be taking place. You can get more information at Noreastr, NOREASTR.net. And Saturday, June 12th, lots going on. The Aspen Legal Seminar continues. I'll actually be at Hunter S. Thompson's home, the Owl Farm at Woody Creek up in Aspen, and we'll bring you some live coverage from that right here at Normal Show Live. There is a War on Lies walk in Cleveland, Ohio. Northern Michigan Compassion Club is meeting at the Horizon Bookstore on Saturday. Oregon Normal's cardholders meeting is happening on Saturday, June 12th. They've got a new location, so check out ornorml.org.
I just want to mention Russ and Madeline Martinez won't be there, but I will be there, and I will be speaking at that meeting.
Yes.
So look forward to that.
Ganja John will be at the cardholders meeting. Madeline and I, of course, will be in Aspen. Miami Valley Normal will be having their meeting in Dayton, Ohio, and the Oakland County Normal Film Festival is taking place. That's, let's see, where that in Oakland County, Michigan. For more information, you can email Neil Yashinsky at NYASHINS@yahoo.com. And of course, for all of this information, the email addresses, web addresses, dates and times, and more, check out Normal's Cannabis Community Calendar at norml.org/calendar.
Starfish Designs, makers of the original Gandalf.
I'm Radical Russ, and when I want to relax, I always have my 17-inch long original Gandalf from Starfish Designs nearby. The hand-blown borosilicate glass is strong and easy to clean, and the design is sleek and sophisticated. Starfish Designs are available from Bend, Oregon at a glass retailer near you. For locations, call 541-788-GLASS. That's 541-788-4527.
Almost busted in Laredo, but for reasons that I'd rather not disclose.
I smoke pot, and I like it a lot. Hi, this is Willie Nelson. I learned a long time ago that marijuana is a lot safer to use than alcohol. There's absolutely nothing wrong with the responsible use of marijuana by adults. It's time we stopped arresting and started respecting responsible marijuana smokers in America. And to learn what you can do to help, please contact NORML at www.norml.org or call toll-free at 888-67-NORML.
The show was long and we were just sitting there, and we'd come to play and not just for the ride.
Been busted? Need a lawyer? Call the Normal Legal Committee for an attorney near you. Find one at norml.org. Remember, attorneys are cheaper than a lifelong criminal drug record.
It's that freedom. I'm free to do
Founded in 1970, the National Organization for the Reform of Marijuana Laws is the oldest, largest, and most popular lobby of cannabis users in the world. From our Washington, D.C. offices, we lobby our federal government. And from our chapters nationwide, we lobby our state and local governments to end the war on American citizens who choose to use cannabis responsibly. We take you now to our nation's capital for a visit with Executive Director Alan St. Pierre and a look at this month in NORML.
Welcome back to the show, everyone. 34 after the hour, and we're working on getting Alan St. Pierre on the line. He is just finishing up with a radio interview on another station, so I will just kind of riff here for a little bit while we get him on the line. The Aspen Legal Seminar has been taking place. I believe this is the 5th annual Aspen Legal Seminar, and it's quite an amazing presentation. Most legal seminars in drug policy are a lawyer event only. We have one in Key West, Florida, that is for lawyers only. This is the only legal seminar that we're aware of that is not only presented for lawyers and presented with the idea of examining the law, but also involves the general public. So it's one of the few ones where you can go and actually kind of get into the nitty-gritty about marijuana law reform from the people who are actually doing it. And joining us here from Washington, D.C. to talk all about it is the Executive Director of NORML, Alan St. Pierre. Welcome back, Alan.
Good afternoon.
Oh, I was just telling folks about our fifth annual Aspen Legal Seminar and how it is a event that is open to the public, but it's generally presented toward lawyers. Can you give our listeners an idea, if they would come up to Aspen, what they'd be learning up there?
Sure. Well, at this particular seminar, it's well divided between what are called continuing legal education credits for lawyers, and some of the things they'll be looking at are topics like the ethical considerations for accepting a fee, selling your client's case to the jury, how to pick a jury, new forms of electronic surveillance that are done on the internet. Those are the sort of lawyerly things that some people would be very interested in. But from a lay point of view, and why this particular seminar has kind of become a medical marijuana business junket, is the other half of the seminar looks at the legal issues surrounding medical marijuana. For example, there'll be a panel discussion called Ethical Considerations when Representing Those in the Medical Marijuana Industry. There are lawyers looking at the unique and different laws in Colorado and California. There are lawyers looking at the unique laws in New Mexico, Michigan, Oregon, and Washington from experts in those states. So it's for a layperson like myself, it's a very interesting seminar as compared to, say, the Key West Legal Seminar or our other ones that are just 100% lawyers talking about only things that lawyers care about.
Yeah, it does get pretty deep into the Latin sometimes when we do those legal seminars.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Now, with respect to Colorado, we're holding this in Aspen, Colorado, and last year when we did the legal seminar, there was somewhat like 30 dispensaries in the Denver area, and we had all of these wannabe dispensary proprietors that showed up to the seminar wanting to get the latest information. Now, Carrie just, read the story about Governor Ritter signing these 2 new bills into law that severely restrict these dispensaries. Is that going to be a major focus of this seminar to be Colorado-centric, or is it going to be more national?
Certainly on the Colorado lecture period that Warren Edson will be talking about, will definitely focus on these new changes in Colorado and how it's going to negatively affect most of that industry. And because this very day, Monday, the 7th of June, upwards of 400 dispensaries are being served cease and desist notices in Los Angeles County this very day. Mm-hmm. So we will have lawyers coming in and talking specifically not only about California, but notably what's going on today in Los Angeles County.
What are we doing on that legal front? I've heard a lot of talk about there being 20 different lawsuits in Los Angeles and other lawsuits wanting to proceed here in Colorado to defend their constitutional rights. How is NORML and NORML Legal Committee involved with any of those lawsuits?
The NORML Legal Committee individual members are almost involved in every single one of these lawsuits. They are individuals up and down the coast of California mainly who are filing cease and desist or preliminary injunction relief orders. And so in the next month, there's going to be a number of judicial hearings, mainly in Los Angeles, where lawyers from NORML who will be representing the individual clients and dispensaries, not NORML per se, will be in there trying to impact this new change of law there that will take maybe 3/4 or more of the existing dispensaries and put them out of business, go from, say, 550 down to 140.
My goodness. All right. Now, with regards to the seminar itself, it's being held at the Gant Hotel, a nice resort up there in Aspen, and it's just before the summer season. So the prices are still, at least for Aspen, they're not crazy. Is there still availability at the Gant if people wanted to get a last-minute sign up here for this seminar?
Good question. I don't know that the Gant itself would actually have rooms. However, a number of people who have wanted to come up to this event, we've gone and looked up on your standard search pages like Hotels.com or Expedia and found numerous hotels for between $80 and $100, which usually go for $300 to $400 during the ski season and high summer season, are going for about $80 to $100 at what are 3- and 4-star hotels right in downtown Aspen. The town is so small you can practically pee across it.
Yeah.
So when it comes to, if you do want to come up and stay at, like, I'll just name some brands here, like the Inn at Little Nell or the Jerome, Hotel Jerome. These are amazing places to stay, and you only have to walk 200 or 300 yards to the Normal event at the Gant.
Yeah, it's Aspen's totally a walking town. You can get around pretty easy, and I think they even have bicycle rentals if you want to do that too. Beautiful place to be in the middle of June. I've checked out the weather. It looks like it's going to be gorgeous while we're out there. And that leads me to one of our outdoor events that's taking place, and this is so exciting to me. I got to participate 2 years ago. We didn't have it last year, but again, this year, we're headed out to Owl Farm, the legendary home of Hunter S. Thompson. Explain Hunter S. Thompson's relationship with NORML and how we're able to do this fantastic cookout.
Well, Hunter was one of NORML's longest supporters. He was a very good friend and confidant to Keith Stropp, the founder of NORML and the current legal counsel. And many of us would go out and spend time at Hunter's place, both at NORML events we held in Aspen in Colorado, but many of us just struck up a friendship with him and would go out there and hang out with him on our own time, myself, Keith, and others. And so as Doc passed away, even though there were disputes amongst the family about, how to use the property and who would have access to it, thankfully, Anita Thompson, his widow, is a big NORML supporter, and she's very keen on allowing NORML during its Aspen Legal Seminar to have a barbecue out there. And for those who have never been out there, it is just the way he left it the day he died. It's pretty much like a mausoleum. They haven't changed anything in the house. So it's both fascinating and a little spooky at the same time. And for those of us who used to go out there and party with Hunter, to go out there now and to know that he's gone and know that there's generations of Americans who are trying to make exodus out to his property and read his books, and to appreciate the gonzo journalism he brought. So we feel blessed that the Hunter Thompson Foundation makes available to us the use of this property.
Yeah, we try to perfect a little bit of gonzo journalism here at NORML Show Live with much respect to Hunter S. Thompson's legacy, and we'll try to bring as much as we can from NORML Show Live. I don't know if there'll be any streaming or any cell phone coverage up there for us to pull anything off at Hunter's place, but we'll do what we can. And I remember going up there too.
Yeah, and by the way, if you're right. I mean, we are in a part of the country where if you're just a valley or two over or one street over from the main cell phone towers, you really don't pick up a cell phone. So hopefully we can, and in that case, we will broadcast live from Hunter Thompson's farm.
Yeah, and there was a jam session there 2 years ago. I don't know if it'll be there again, but had a lot of fun. And I always regret the fact that I never got a chance to meet Hunter Thompson while he was alive, but feeling his presence there at the home, we toured around his home. All of his desk and his writing materials and his posters and photographs and mementos from years and years of his work are still there. It's a wonderful experience. The bucket full of shotgun shells always stands out to me. I love the bucket full of shotgun shells.
It's an amazing piece of property. We're so lucky to have the ability to take a peek into it. It's not open to the public. Very few people can even find the farm. So it's the end of the event. It's a great way to send everybody off and feeling good and looking forward to the next NORML event.
Absolutely. Another event that we have there up there at the Aspen Seminar is on Friday night. We have a wonderful benefit party at the home of Chris and Jerry Goldstein. This is fantastic because it's also catered by Chef Chris Lanter from Cash Cash, which is a major restaurant up there in Aspen. How long has Jerry been involved with NORML, and how do these parties come about?
Jerry's been involved with NORML literally since the very beginning, since 1970. He and Keith and some other lawyers were the sui generis of the organization. Jerry is one of the best criminal defense lawyers in the country, maybe the world, and so he's done pretty well financially in his life, and was very fortunate to buy what was then a very small home in Aspen in the early 1970s. Today, it's probably worth between $10 and $20 million.
Yeah.
And we're blessed that he opens that home up for us, which has a beautiful view of Ajax Mountain. And Jerry has been one of the longest legal supporters out there, and because we're in his adopted hometown of Aspen, he's very keen to donate in the form of his house. And then, as you mentioned, Chris Lanter, the chef at Cash Cash, which is a 4-star restaurant. This is truly one of the best restaurants in the entire United States, let alone in Aspen. And Chris Lanter is one of the great ganja gourmet chefs in the country. In that New York Times article a few weeks ago talking about ganja chefs, I was almost taken aback and chagrined that he wasn't mentioned amongst Anthony Bourdain and Mario Batali as people today who acknowledge they use marijuana to help create their amazing gourmet palate.
There's not a restaurant in America that doesn't have someone smoking some marijuana, even if it's just the dishwasher. I will testify that as a former dishwasher. Now, looking at the agenda here for the legal conference, just to wrap things up here, it's a 3-day agenda. A Thursday, June 10th, runs from 8 in the morning till, 4:20. Imagine that. Friday runs from 8 in the morning till about 3:30, and then Saturday's a short day, 8 in the morning till about noontime. Within these presentations, we have all sorts of folks that our listeners to the show will recognize. Paul Armentano is going to be giving a presentation on rebutting toxicologists and the whole idea of drug testing for criminal cases. This will be a very interesting seminar. We'll bring that to you with Normal Show Live. Matt Cuman will be there. William Panzer, Warren Edson, many people that we've talked to. Leland Berger, Doug Hyatt from Seattle. Many of the lawyers that we talk to here on Normal Show Live will be there. We'll bring as much of it as we can to you. I did want you to mention, though, John Wesley Hall, a name that might sound familiar to a few people. Maybe you could tell our listeners a little bit about John Wesley Hall and his background.
Well, John Wesley Hall is a very prominent criminal defense lawyer, the past president of the National Association of Criminal Defense Lawyers. He also owns and operates the webpage Fourth Amendment. He is probably the greatest living expert in the United States on search and seizure, notably the Fourth Amendment.
Wow. Yeah. And so, folks, if you can't make it out to Aspen, make sure that you check your Twitter feed at Radical Russ, or just check back with Normal Show Live all day Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. We will have something up from Aspen, whether it be a panel presentation or an interview or a walk about the town. We'll have something for you. Alan St. Pierre will be there. Keith Stropp will be there. Paul Armentano, myself, Cannabis Carey. It'll be a really good time. And Alan, I look forward to seeing you in a couple days.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I'm looking forward to seeing you and Carrie in much better and friendlier environs than Portland or Washington, D.C.
All right. Thanks so much, Alan St. Pierre from Washington, D.C. When we come back, we're going to go on a little radical rant, tell you a little bit about your constitutional rights and how the Supreme Court has made a very important change when it comes to interacting with police. We're right back.
You're listening to Normal Show Live, the voice of the marijuana nation.
So where are you headed?
Aspen.
California. Beautiful.
That's what I need. When I smoke it, satisfaction guaranteed.
Hi, this is Alan St. Pierre, Executive Director of NORML. This year, the Drug Czar's office has a $60 million budget for advertising their Reefer Madness propaganda. We here at NORML don't have that kind of money, but we've got two weapons for fighting back. Your donations and the truth. Please, make a donation to NORML so we can continue to expand this podcast and our other media campaigns. Even a donation of $4.20 can help. Visit us on the web at norml.org or call toll-free 888-67-NORML, NORML. Thank you for caring and sharing.
That's what I need. When I smoke it, satisfaction guaranteed.
You want answers?
I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore.
You want answers?
You have offended my family.
I think I'm entitled. You want answers? I want the truth.
And you have offended a Shaolin temple.
You can't handle the truth.
Surely you can't be serious.
I am serious. And don't call me Shirley.
Hoorah!
Radical Rant.
Welcome back, everyone. 49 after the hour, and not so much ranting as information today, but we can rant a little bit. Welcome to the Radical Rant, brought to you by homegrown.com, HOMGRON.com, your home for subtle marijuana t-shirts. Really cool stuff. We love them.
Awesome t-shirts.
Yeah, we love them. We got a few homegrown t-shirts. We're going to be doing another giveaway here pretty soon.
Yeah.
Also got some stickers and some stuff from Slightly Stupid.
Yeah.
We'll have to have a giveaway for that.
Yeah. They sent us a lot of nice nice, cool stuff, actually.
Yeah,
Thanks,
real cool.
Slightly Stupid.
Thank you, guys. All right, so talking about your constitutional rights, for the longest time here at NORML, we've had something called the NORML Freedom Card, and you can go online to normal.org/pdf_files/freedom_card.pdf. If you want to get a copy of this, you can just print it out on a regular business card size paper, fold it up, put it in your wallet. You've got to have this. What it does is it details what you should do and what you should say when you're pulled over by a police officer. It's how to invoke your constitutional rights. And a lot of people don't realize that police are entitled to lie to you. They're entitled to fool you into giving up your constitutional rights. So it's important that you have this card and you know how to express yourself with respect to these rights. Of course, the card includes, I hereby invoke and refuse to waive all of the following rights and privileges afforded to me by the U.S. Constitution. I invoke and refuse to waive my Fifth Amendment right to remain silent. Do not ask me any questions. This one's important, and this is why I wanted to bring this up today, because the Supreme Court just ruled last Tuesday in a case regarding Miranda rights that in a 5-4 decision, with most of the court's conservatives on the 5 side, decided that in order for you to invoke your right to remain silent, you have to speak up. I know, it sounds like the most ironic thing in the world. In fact, Justice Sotomayor said something along that lines. But the way that the justices decided is that if you want to observe your right to remain silent, you must say, I reserve my right to remain silent. Seems crazy, but what this had to do with was a case where a man had been interrogated by police for 3 hours, and for 3 hours he didn't say anything, right? He just basically, he'd say, I don't want to talk, I want to talk to my lawyer, I don't want to talk, and didn't really say anything to the cops, was maintaining his right to remain silent, and toward the end of the 3 hours, he finally broke and confessed. Well, the Supreme Court decided, and he appealed and said, well, I was observing my right to remain silent for 3 hours, and they were still pestering me. The Supreme Court has said, merely being silent is not enough to invoke your right to remain silent. You have to talk.
Ridiculous.
Insane. You have to talk to invoke your right to remain silent. But that's the way it is. That's the way it's decided. So we here at NORML want to make sure that you all understand that. Say to the officer, I invoke and refuse to waive my Fifth Amendment right to remain silent. Do not ask me any questions. Another thing you can say is, I invoke and refuse to waive my Sixth Amendment right to an attorney of my choice. Do not ask me any questions without my attorney present. And I invoke and refuse to waive all privileges and rights pursuant to the case Miranda v. Arizona. Do not ask me any questions or make any comment to me about this decision. I invoke and refuse to waive my Fourth Amendment right to be free from unreasonable searches and seizures. This is another really important one that you have to vocalize. You have to say, officer, I do not consent to any searches. And they will say, oh, well, we'll bring the drug dogs. Officer, I do not consent to any searches. Well, if you're just holding just a little bit, if you just give that to me and we'll make sure this all goes away. It'll go easy on you. Officer, I do not consent to any searches. Be a robot to these people. Cops are trained and their job is to find and arrest people. That means you. The police officer's not your friend. They can lie to you. Now, you can't lie to them. You lie to them, you're in trouble for obstruction of justice. But cops can lie to you in order to get you to waive your rights. So be strong, be firm, and say, I refuse to have any searches or seizures of my property. Now, a lot of people, when I tell people this, right, I go all across the country and I talk to people all over, and they say, oh yeah, sure. I say that to the cop. First thing they're going to do is think I'm holding. They're going to bring the dogs. They're going to tear my car apart. They're going to find it. I'm going to go to jail. Yeah, but if you say you can search my car and they find that stuff, you're going to go to jail anyway. So why make their job easier? The point is, if you invoke your rights, your lawyer has something to work with, has some ammunition in court. Sure, the cops may bring the dog and make the dog alert and open up your trunk and find a pound of weed, let's say. But once it goes to court and the lawyer can show, hey, my client had this card in his hand, my client said the words on this card, that becomes something that the lawyer can use to get that evidence thrown out of court. And without any evidence in court, they got nothing to stand on. They can't go forward with the prosecution. Also, by invoking your rights, you're helping to fight this war on drugs from our side of the ledger sheet, right? Because if you make it easy on them, You just admit, oh yeah, go ahead and search my car, or oh yeah, I've got weed on me. If you make it easy on them, then they don't feel the pain of having to arrest, try, and convict cannabis consumers. You made their job easy. If you invoke your rights, they got to take you to trial. They got to take the cops got to take time off of his work to come and testify against you. They got to put you on the docket. It becomes a pain in the ass for them. So invoke your rights. It's your right as an American to be left alone by officers unless they have a probable cause. And if they're asking to search your car or your person, they don't have probable cause. If they had probable cause, they'd start searching. Believe me, they just go right into the search. I mean, like, if they pull up to your car and they can see a bag of weed on the seat and smoke coming out the back window, they're gonna search, right? You know, they've already got the probable cause. So without probable cause, they're going to ask you. If they ask you, you say no. It's very simple. Now, a lot of people also get scared when they're around cops, and, you know, justifiably so. They have guns and the right to shoot you in certain cases. So, yeah, it's justifiable to be a little scared. You can just hand the officer the card. You don't even have to speak, although I would now say, I invoke my right to remain silent. Do that. Just say, I invoke my right to remain silent. Hand them the card and sit there. Now, another piece of information you should know about is a little phrase you can say to an officer. Officer, am I being detained or am I free to go? Now, a lot of times what cops will do is they will pull you over and they'll talk to you for a while and try to, hey, where are you going? Where are you headed? What's going on here? Oh, well, I pulled you over because you had a busted taillight. Where are you headed? What's going on? And they'll keep trying to talk to you to get you to try to admit something, to try to give them some clue that gives them probable cause. The minute the cop hands you that ticket, or the minute he refuses to hand you a ticket, says something, well, I'll just give you a warning, that stop's over. That stop is over, and you can say, officer, am I being detained, or am I free to go now? Because once you mention that, once they make it an official detention for something other than the traffic stop, that changes a lot of the rules with respect to you going to court and defending yourself. So remember that phrase, officer, am I being detained, or am I free to go now? Officer, I invoke my right to remain silent. Please don't ask me any more questions. Officer, I will not answer any questions without an attorney present. Officer, I do not consent to any searches or seizures. 4 things. That's the only 4 things you need to ever say to a cop. Now, again, it's not like when you first get pulled over by the cop that you should jump right into lawyer mode. You know, because that does look kind of suspicious, right? Hi, son, do you know why I pulled you over? I invoke my right to remain silent. You know, it could look a little suspicious. But when the cop pulls you over, here's how you can turn the tables on them. Take command of the situation. When a cop pulls you over, don't wait for him to say, do you know why I pulled you over? You say, officer, good day. Why are you pulling me over? Put the onus on them. If you're not making those 4 statements about silence, searches, lawyers, and everything that I mentioned, the only other things coming out of your mouth should be questions. Officer, why did you pull me over? Officer, am I free to go now? Don't give them any more evidence than they already have. Don't help them get you arrested and put in jail. Get the NORML Foundation Freedom Card. Just go to norml.org. If you can't remember the website address, just go up to the top in the search box and type in Freedom Card. You can print it out. Or if you have a local NORML chapter in your area, which you can find from norml.org/chapters, most of our chapters have copies of the cards as well, and you can get one from them. But whatever you do, know your rights, know how to protect yourself, and don't make it easy on the drug warriors. They want war, we'll give them war. We just got to know how to fight it smartly. For everyone here at the NORML Foundation and NORML Show Live, thanks for joining us for our show. We're here every weekday, Monday through Friday at 1 p.m. Pacific, with replays at 3, 5, 7, and 9. For Ganja John and Cannabis Carrie, I'm Radical Russ saying thanks, have a good harvest, and take care of each other, tokers.
This is NORML Show Live, the voice of the marijuana nation.
Take it out one more time. You take a seed, you plant it, you grow it, you dry it, you roll it, you smoke it. You take a seed, you plant it, you grow it, you dry it, you roll it, you smoke it. You take a seed, you plant it, you grow it, you dry it, you roll it, you smoke it, and it goes down smooth. Hey!